Kev here, back today to talk about something I saw this morning that fits into what I call the fuck white people agenda. And I don't like cursing, but it comes to that. That's basically the sentiment we're getting from the mainstream media. And I get on Drudge in the morning, and the left think that Drudge is some sort of like right-wing propaganda and opinion site, but it's just an aggregate of newspaper headlines from across the country. And some of them are left, some of them are right. But it's just a bunch of news stories from the AP. And on Drudge today, there were several of these stories. And like most days, you can see many stories that are attacking straight men, attacking whites, attacking Christians. And from our own media here in this country, where we are a predominantly white Christian nation. And even if we weren't predominantly white, we're definitely predominantly Christian. Well, anyway, one of these stories really took the cake. The other story was about how the Grammy Awards were focusing on rap and pushing whites to the side. So no longer are award shows about merit. They're actually about virtue signaling now and promoting what I consider to be the most degenerate, worst music around. Hell, most rap songs are just samples of 1970s and 80s songs remixed where somebody rhymes and curses, and those same people who the SJWs are virtue signaling for are the ones who are debasing women and you know, really talking about hate and oppression, the kind of stuff that the left say everybody else is doing. Well, anyway, that, you know, the Grammy thing is bad enough, right? But this story that I'm about to read really took the cake, okay? And I'm going to debunk the hell out of this thing. But it's called Shock Video. Students undergo disturbing sensory experiences to drive out prejudice. So basically, you know, they're brainwashing kids now. And they've been brainwashing them for a while, but this is beyond the pale here. So some San Diego State University students are undergoing what organizers acknowledge is a disturbing set of sensory experiences in an attempt to drive out students' prejudicial tendencies and help make them less oppressive. Now, you know, when you see students out there and just people in general, it's not college-educated whites that are oppressing people. I hate to tell you that, but it's just not. The annual workshop, Journey to a Shared Humanity, is described by the university's website as a way for organizers to get students to step outside their comfort zone and into the shoes of those who are struggling with oppressive circumstances. This year, some students were required to attend the event as part of their classes. So they're forcing these kids to go to these events where they're going to berate them for the color of their skin. That sounds like actual oppression, like actual prejudice. Almost lost my notes there. For example, in this year's rendition held earlier this month, students observed skits that included a black man yelling at them to stand and face the wall, not to look at him. Let's go, face the wall, do not look at me, the performer yelled as if he was a drill instructor commanding recruits, and then went on. First, they came for the Native Americans, but I'm not Native American. You know, it goes on to that same whole, first they came from the union workers, but I wasn't a union worker. It's Nazi rhetoric, but from a black man towards a group of students. Now, this is trying to say that, you know, these kids need to be yelled at or taught their own medicine somehow, but because, you know, they treated blacks unfairly, even though they didn't. These kids are young. They had no chance to oppress blacks in any way, and probably their parents didn't either. In fact, when you look at the stats, there's 320,000 whites every year that are victims of black crime compared to 60,000 blacks a year who are victims of white crime. And the number of white victims of black crime is on the rise, while the number of black victims of white crime is actually going down, despite the crap that you hear from the media about all these fake hate crime hoaxes out there that they're trying to push as real, or they're trying to prop up in the media, the rare examples of these that happen. And in fact, blacks who commit crimes against white are much less likely to be charged by a hate crime law as compared to whites who commit crimes against blacks. Even though we've seen lots of scenarios, most recently these kids who kidnapped a white man and blamed him for Trump while they beat him and tortured him, they got off without being charged for a hate crime. So you can see how the system is actually skewed to oppress the majority and not the minority. And this is the fault of these left-wing college professors. So then it went on to say, quote, "One light, one life, my life, and when I came for me, there was no one else to speak up, the performer concluded. In another performance, students heard a very loud banging and a man's voice yelling, "Ice, open up." A mother in the scene hurriedly tells her daughter, who she's speaking to on the phone, that she has to go. Don't let them teach you to be scared of others that don't look or sound like you. Okay, stay quiet, stay put, the mother says. Te amo mucho. Wait, don't go. Don't touch your mom. So anyway, you can see like they're acting out a deportation scene. Well, you know what? If somebody's mother is talking on the phone with her and she's speaking English, okay, doesn't that mean the mother's been here quite a while? Long enough to have adult children who are also here? And getting a visa is quite easy unless you're a criminal. My wife did it real fast. When you look at the poll by UT, the majority of Americans, 53%, support deportation of all illegal immigrants, with only 41% saying that they don't agree with deportation but would prefer immigration reform. So, you know, it's pure propaganda here. And then it goes on to bring out, you know, the left's 9/11 Charlottesville. In another skit, a loudspeaker chants, "Jews will not replace us," over and over, the words echoing loudly and hurriedly through the darkened building. In the same chant, neo-Nazis marching in Charlottesville yelled, "Then and now." Images in the background appeared to juxtapose images of World War II era Germany with Charlottesville rioters. Isn't that swell? So, when you talk about Nazis, right? Let's talk about Nazis. There are 99 groups of National Socialists nationwide, a couple of thousand people in these groups. When you compare that to the left, to black nationalists alone, black separatists, they are the largest number of hate groups in the U.S. for one ideology. Black separatist groups account for 193 black separatist groups in the U.S. account for the largest group of nationalist, racial nationalist, identitarian, extremist groups. So there you have it, guys. You know, the Nazis are bad, yes. You know, but the left has equally bad people, and there are many more of them. Yet this kind of, you know, white hate we see now is festering and making these numbers grow when they should be going down like they were prior to Obama, prior to the whole SJW movement and the left's identitarian sort of explosion that we've seen over the past 10 or 20 years. The overall theatrical experience, which included about a dozen skits, lasted about 20 minutes. Let's see. Organizers acknowledged of annual events' sensory experiences may be disturbing, but adds it's an effective tool to use to teach people how it really feels to be an oppressed situation. After students viewed the immersive live theatrical experience presenting a collective of raw and emotional performances, as it has been described, they're taken to a room and debriefed by professors or other campus leaders. So they're taken to a room after this where they can be further brainwashed and told what to believe and what to make of this, which is just out of control. Now, it goes on to say something. After one such performance earlier this month, a student group that experienced the journey together engaged in a discussion during which the professor leading the talk said President Trump is a racist and then encouraged the students to fight against oppression. So he's calling Donald Trump a racist without any kind of evidence of such. Yet, when you look at where we are now with Trump compared to where we were with Obama, we're better off by every metric. And we saw the largest decline in race relations in modern history under Obama, not with Trump. But see, we have this narrative now that festers hate, that promotes this kind of BS where they're brainwashing our kids. My kids aren't old enough yet, thank God. If this happened to my kids, there would be some serious problems with me in that university. I would go straight to my lawyers. But you see, not enough people are doing that. And we have to fight back because this is what's going to breed real oppression and real hate. And it's got to end, guys. You see, it's easy to debunk this crap they're spewing. It's easy to show the statistics, even though it's getting harder and harder to find actual numbers when you search on Google because everything you get is from a left-wing rag. So when you search something like, you know, white on black crime or black on white crime, you get a million articles first about why somebody, in somebody's opinion, they think there's more white hate crimes towards blacks. But in reality, when you look at the numbers, you finally get to the numbers from the FBI 5 pages into your search, you can debunk all this stuff. And thank God, at least our government is still staying somewhat honest about these type of things. Anyway, guys, I hope you've been red-pilled. I'm out.